That means you are meant to be here. There's something here for you, something that you need to learn, you need to hear, answer to a question you've been asking, things like that. But my regular queens are always here, and there's so much love in my group, you know. I can't even believe that we have this group where every success is celebrated and we're present every single day and people are talking to one another, and it's just, I feel like the community is just something incredible, and this is something I take with me, and I'm very, very proud of this. I'm very proud I created this, and it's only top high quality people in it. So thank you for that. Thank you for your energy. Remember, we're affirming for others as well, for others in our group. And I think our energetic movement is changing at least the lives of those who are in the lives of the people in my group. Okay. So somebody asked me, I have a binding water ritual, and I work with water a lot. You can work with any of the 4 elements of the real world, but water is my favorite. Water is the one I know, and it's the only one I use. So every time I'm somewhere next to an ocean, Pacific, Atlantic, I do a water cleansing for my group and intention. So somebody's in Costa Rica right now, somebody who's very active in our group, and she asked me, how do I do this, right? So basically, the way you do this, it was Yasmina. There's nothing personal in this, so I just want to say she's in Costa Rica having a great time. So the way you do this, Yasmina, is you get into the ocean, and first you sort of express gratitude. Then make sure you're alone. You can't do this with your partner, right? So make sure it's a time when you're just on your own for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You express gratitude for being there. And you think that this is a real privilege. Like, the majority of women in this world don't have this chance to go on a vacation, to be in a resort, to be in the ocean. The majority, okay, over 80% of women in this world have very different lives than us. So you express this gratitude, then you think of our group, and you say either our 6 premises. Everything always works out for us all of the time. Obviously, you say it in the plural. You say either 6 premises, or you say certain intentions that have to be in the plural for all of us. And you leave the imprint in the water. Then you get out of the water, and on the sand you draw, but the sand that's close to the shore that can be washed off by the wave. So you draw a circle and an infinity. And I didn't post the one from Hawaii, but you guys know I do one every time I'm next to an ocean. So you come out of the ocean with that intention. Now you go in the ocean only for this reason, once again, and you have to be alone. You come out of the ocean, you draw a circle infinity, you look at it. If you want, you can take a picture for us, because it's very nice for us to see, but you don't have to. And then you see the wave wash it away. So that means the ocean actually took all your intentions and assimilated it. I love working with water. In the workbook that I'm doing for next year, for all of us to start, like, you don't have to start on January 1st, but I want my group to start on January 1st. We're gonna have a lot of shower rituals in terms of working with the energy of water and clearing our magnetic field, washing away, using water with intention. The same way we take a shower for the physical body, it's very, very important to take energetic showers for your spiritual body and for the cleansing of your magnetic system. Can everybody hear me well? We have a new moon on November 20th, which is this Thursday. We're gonna have a new moon meditation. Please do not miss it. I only care really a lot. We have other meditation, but I only care a lot about the new moon meditation. There's only 12 of them every year, and I don't want us to miss it. I put a lot of work into doing these meditations. The theme is whatever arises from our group work. It's always real. I don't have any of this pre-recorded. I generally record it a day or two before, depending on where the group energy is. And after November 20th, we only have one more, December 19th. And then that's it for new moon. Then you can have your holidays. And then on January 1st, we're starting with the workbook. The workbook isn't ready yet. I'm going to have it ready by the end of the month. I'm going to do everything in my power to have it ready by the end of the month. And if you are interested in it, just leave your email in my link in the comment at stan.store. You can't buy it yet because it's not available, but just leave me your email that you're interested in getting it. And hopefully we can all start together. Okay, we have expressed interest in certain esoteric topics. And I told you guys that I'm not going to go into any unless it's sort of helping our work, like it's sort of increasing our work. And one conspiracy theory somebody asked me about, and I didn't even know this is a thing until like maybe a couple of weeks ago when somebody asked me this. But one conspiracy theory is that the human laws that are put into place, like our systems and the laws that we have to abide by, are kind of an inversion of the spiritual laws. And this is clear, like, for example, in 3D, if anything happens, you're judged by evidence. But in 5D, you're judged not by evidence, but by your alignment. This is why even people who do not so great things in 3D, as long as they align with something else in 5D, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not action reward from 5D. So it's kind of like an inversion of an idea of how things unfold. And I'm gonna read something that everybody's very familiar with, the Miranda rights. If you're in the United States, you know what this is. If you're in Canada, you know what this is. I'm sure your country has its own version of this. So when somebody is arrested and about to be, because of a crime, right? This is not applicable when somebody's stopped by police on the road. But just if they are arrested, they are being read what is called the Miranda rights. So it says, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to an attorney. And if you don't if you don't provide an attorney, one will be appointed to you in a court of law. They have to read you this, what is called the Miranda rights, the Fifth Amendment right. And I want you guys to think how this is completely inverted in the spiritual world. So instead of that, instead of you have the right to remain silent, is you have the right to speak up if you don't like your life. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law becomes anything you say, positive or negative, unfortunately, will be used for you to create your life. But again, it's positive or negative, depending on what you say. So anything you say will be used for you, for your life. You have the right to an attorney, which means somebody who knows more than you. So you have a right to a spiritual mentor. And if you don't get yourself an attorney, one will be appointed to you. So the thing is, there's an implication here that if you don't have the right spiritual mentor, if you don't ask help from the right spiritual movement, entity, God, whatever you want to call it, there will still be one who is assigned to you. And I want you, this was something very interesting for me to keep in mind, because yes, you know, that's sort of my model of reality and how things work. And I invite you to contemplate on that, and see sort of, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you, like, when you think that the spiritual laws are inverted, do you ever think that how you function in this system may have to do with, hang on a second, this is not how reality unfolds. Just because I work hard doesn't mean I'm going to get a reward. How does that person who doesn't work hard, doesn't do anything, who maybe is not such a great person as me, get it and I don't get it? Well, this is how. It's because it's not how it works. And you really have to understand this. And the 5D is way more, it takes precedence over 3D. Not that there isn't randomness in 3D, and let's say anyone can win the lottery, even if they didn't do mindset and work, but the chance of that is the chance that the 3D allows for it, because some randomness is programmed in the world. Just want to make sure I'm clear on that. That's the only esoteric topic I had. I don't want to spend too much time on it, because I generally want to address questions that are pertinent to everyone. And in this case, I'm going to read something that's related to legal rights. One queen in my group says, I realized today that by choosing to legally sever all financials and property ties with my family, I am not acting out of conflict. I am acting out of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about excusing or forgetting. It's the act of surrendering the power of a situation or person has held over me. For years, I believed that exercising my rights meant that my mother and the narrative she created for me would mean that she won. But in reality, my refusal to act was the attachment keeping me to the old dynamic. By moving forward, I am releasing myself, closing the loop, and removing the emotional leverage that has defined the situation for almost 2 decades. This is forgiveness in its truest form, the completion of what I should have done long ago without resistance, without continuing the story. The choice isn't without fear. I'm scared, but I cannot live with a version of myself who remained frozen in fear. So in the case of this queen, she has property with her extended family that she's not really aligned with. She's not aligned with her extended family, okay? So I want to tell you that our legal system many times mirrors the energetic. We were just talking about this. It ties into the conversation. And it's a system of binding, right? That's why a marriage means something in the esoteric. It's a system of binding. Not that living together doesn't mean anything, but when you actually sign a contract, you are seen as having exercised a free will choice. And then the entanglement that you have via legalities is an energetic entangle. I am 100% convinced with this, whether you own property together, whether you own a business together, whether you are married, whatever contract. And then when you walk away from that contract, that's not defeat ever. You know, if you feel like you should walk away, it's not defeat. It's always you stop funding the energetic connection, right? Lisa says, yes, I agree. This is why divorce exists and is accepted. Yeah. And it's important if you're no longer with your husband, if you've been separated for 5 years, it's very important you finalize your divorce. That piece of paper that says that you're divorced is actually very important energetically. So I wanted to touch on that. I don't think we've ever talked about this and the contracts we effectuate. And I want you to contemplate on this if you have legal binds with somebody. And what I've noticed in my own personal life is that I was divorced once, and also I had a business partnership for quite a few years that kind of fell apart and we contractually separated. What I've noticed with both of these people is that our lives, which were more or less aligned, like kind of in the same direction when we were together. Like I was together romantically with my business partner, but together, you know, in terms of contractually there every day, seeing that person every day. Lives took a completely different turn. Like these people's lives took a completely different turn than my life. And they're almost like their luck has changed. You know what I mean? And not necessarily in the positive, but I'm saying, I don't wish ill on anybody. But I want you guys to understand that when you contractually end something, don't be surprised if that person turns out very differently than the way you used to know them when you had the contract. If things for them don't happen as easily or maybe as hard as they used to, because that energetic contract with you had a strong significance. Or you can observe other people who break contracts or end contracts. Now it's different if you default on a contract versus if you make a clean break. So I would advise everybody to have all your paperwork in order all of the time. Don't stay in anything that's kind of in limbo. Limbo, your energy's in limbo, if it's in limbo. Okay. Another thing I wanted to take up here. Okay, a comment that came in a couple of days ago. I think this queen says, I think I need to tweak my affirmations that I look and feel younger than ever. It's flattering when 28-year-olds think I'm the same age as them, but I don't want to date 28-year-olds. I've been affirming this because I don't want to have various health issues that 30-plus-year-olds keep complaining about. So we haven't talked about the body in a long time, and I want to talk about it. And what I want to say is this. Age is a societal construct, and each number in your age is associated with certain things that are supposed to or not supposed to happen to you. Now, unfortunately, the majority of these things that are associated with a certain number are negative. So she already has an idea in her mind that, what did she say here? I don't want to have these health issues that 30-plus-year-olds keep complaining about. Okay. Their health issues, the world's health issues, and other people's health issues have nothing to do with you or with your age. And we all know there's some people who died very peacefully in their sleep at 92 years old, never took a pill, never had back pain, never went through diabetes, never had Alzheimer's, etc. You just have to decide that the number that you are for your age, that's why I don't calculate numbers, I don't celebrate numbers, I told you guys, the birthday celebration is a reinforcement in your mind of where you should be in life in terms of your body, they tell you, oh, you're 40, menopause or premenopause or whatever. You're 30, don't be surprised if your hair starts falling off, you know? If you're a woman or a man. Man, you're gonna go bald in the next 5 years. Woman, your hair's thinning. It's thinning, your fertility is decreasing. Right? So they tell you where you're gonna be, and they associate each of this with an age, such that when you turn the age, the subconscious, guys, it's such a powerful thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. And what does it take? What does it take? What goes in your subconscious? One thing, what is repeated most often. Most consistent and believable input is what goes into your subconscious. It's not what you want to go there. It's what's repeated and believable. So if you see 10, 20, 30 women online complaining about dating, complaining about men, complaining about relationships, that's what's going in your mind in regards to the men you can possibly meet. If you're 34, you're about to turn 35, and all you've seen, all you heard is your friends not being able to reproduce, it's very difficult, science tells you that, what's going in your subconscious? Exactly that. Exactly that. What's 8 times 8? Anybody? What's 8 times 8? Like right away you know what 8 times 8 is. Nobody. 8 times 8 is 64. Yeah, exactly. One person. How do you know it's 64? How did you know that? But how did you know it's 64? It's very important that you understand how you know, how the answer came to you the second I asked the question. Nobody? You know that because you've repeated it. And you've repeated it over and over again. Exactly. Integrated by repetition. And this is what is done with everything else. That's what you don't understand. That's how the brain learns. It's programmed. And that's all there is. That's all there is. How simple is that? You know what and the way you know what 8 times 8 is in a second, if I ask you an opinion about marriage, your most dominant opinion is what you've seen at the same age that you learn what 8 times 8 is. Now you might not want it to be that, but most likely that's what's in your subconscious. And this is the scary part. Like when you realize all these things, you're like, holy smokes, I need to be way more careful with what I consume. Now, all of this can be reversed, not to 100% degree, but lessened significantly enough that you're going to see changes, but only if you stop consuming the same content you've been consuming, and only if you reprogram at the same time. So you got to stop consuming, start purging, and reprogram at the same time. This is daily work. I think if you spend time on this in awareness on a daily basis, there's no rituals you have to do. You just have to live in awareness. So when I say we have a shower ritual, that means in the shower, you're in your awareness of what's happening to you right now. There's this water flowing over me, cleaning my body. I have a magnetic field. I have an energetic system. The energy of water, which has been scientifically proven that it carries energy and information based on how you speak to it. You start speaking to the water. Okay, that's because you're in awareness of what's happened, of what's important, of how things work. You have to understand how things work in order to change them, in order to change your life. You can't do it if you don't understand. If you think all you have to do is write on a piece of paper, put rosemary on it and put it under your pillow, Come on, guys. Come on. But I'm okay with everybody trying everything easy first. I'm okay. I've been telling my audience this for a couple of years now. They're asking me, what do I feel? What do I think about robotic affirmations? What do I think about, I don't know, honey jar spell? I don't do any of that stuff. But I think you should try doing the simple things first, because one of two things are going to happen. One, it's not going to work and you're going to give up and start doing real work on yourself, or it's going to work based on different mechanisms, but you're not going to be able to repeat the result, or it's going to happen with a negative consequence. Not because you're being punished, but because you don't have the energetic sustenance, the energetic structure to sustain what unfolded. That's the thing. So I want to say to this queen, when you're saying, oh, I'm reversing, I don't want to have all of these health problems that 30+ year olds have. I want to say, I don't even notice what people have, what people don't have. Like, I think that's an individual thing. That's how my mind is trained. Have you guys ever seen me be sick? I just want you guys to understand, you decide how it's going to work for you, not for the world, just for you. Has nothing to do. Don't listen. And I would stop celebrating numbers pretty much after 30. I would stop celebrating any numbers on the birthday. Like, I still go to the spa every birthday and have a great time. But me, my mom, and like my the women in my family that I'm close to, we never celebrate any numbers. There's no such thing as big numbers, small numbers, yearly numbers. Just because I know in my subconscious what I've seen in the world would associate, not me consciously, but it's there. I would associate a number with a certain thing. So I guess the point is, what's applicable to the majority does not have to be applicable to you. This might sound arrogant. Doesn't matter. What would you like? Would you like what's applicable to collective consciousness to be applicable to you? Yes or no? Make a commitment now. Yes or no? You think collective consciousness is in a good place? You think, take a time now and say, I want or I don't want what's in the collective consciousness. Consciously make a choice. Be in awareness. Be in awareness and just decide, no, these rules don't have to be applicable to me. I can't save anyone except myself, which is the truth. All religions tell you that salvation is individual. You can pray for others, but salvation is still individual. And it applies to this work too. When you change your mind, doesn't mean the people around you are going to change. Some of them may be very upset by your changes. That's how it is. Okay, that's just how it is. Now, where were we? Okay. Another queen in my group, because we're doing the 60-day challenge, and she's saying, over the days of 40 to 45, caught myself reacting internally with a lot of volatility regarding a coworker's sneaky behavior and what feels to me to be unmerited reward. So I guess this coworkers got a promotion or some type of reward. I had to really sit down with myself and ask why it bothered me so much, when in actuality it had nothing to do with me, and I'm already in the process of leaving my current job, but she was still affected. So she's analyzing. It's very important, the self-analysis. Yet still, she says, I feel bothered by the injustice of her obtaining something I didn't feel she deserved. I determined that this is actually part of my limiting belief. It's the same concept Mona speaks about when we give $1 to a homeless person. They don't have to deserve it. We can't apply that concept and in the same breath ask the universe to deliver to us things we didn't earn or deserve. I decided I would let it go and see this entire situation as something I'm being shown for my own betterment. So here's the thing. This is a very key element. And if you're on this live, you never heard me before, stay just for this element. My opinion on beggars, and I don't live in an area that has a lot of beggars, and I don't walk around a lot because I'm not downtown, but sometimes they are at intersections and I see them. And I have this like $5 bills that I always carry with me. And if somebody comes to my window and asks, I will give it. You know, I will just give it. And many times these people, you can tell they're scammers, they look good, their teeth are good, they definitely capable of working, what have you. But what I decided a few years ago, more than 10 years ago, is that, look, I also have the capacity to work harder, and I have everything. You know, I have everything. I don't have like millions of dollars, but I have everything in my life. And yet I dare ask the universe, give me more. I want more. Okay, I'm grateful for this, but I want more. Now, have I worked for it? Do I deserve it? Who knows? There's people out there, much better people than me, who deserve it way more. But I dare ask. And so because 5D will give you situations in 3D to show you why you're not getting what you want, these situations arise. Okay, a beggar comes to you, and in that moment, your judgment is like, look at this guy. I worked so hard today, and he has the nerve. He's stronger than me. He's probably gonna drink this money, or he's probably has a scam and is collecting money, and they're all like a ring of beggars that you know, are leeching onto the society. Okay, so that's what you're transmitting to the universe. You're doing the same thing. You're doing the exact same thing when you're asking for more. Do you realize that? You're doing the exact same thing. You're like, give me. You have everything. Everybody who's on this live has a cell phone. Probably everybody has a roof over their head, hot water, electricity, food on the table. Okay? Yet you dare ask for more. You dare ask for a partner. You dare ask for fulfillment. You dare ask for work that you actually like. You dare ask for to be stronger in the body. You dare ask for travel. You dare ask for more. Have you earned it? No. So it's okay for the beggar to get something that he didn't earn, and it's okay for you to be non-judgmental. Try it next time, okay? So here's, if you're on this live, I want you guys, this is your challenge, and absolutely see what this brings up inside of you. Guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my life. See what, have like a small bill, $1, $5, whatever. When somebody approaches, give it and see how that feels inside of you. Because if it feels like you're not close, you're not close at all. This doesn't have to do with generosity. Also, it doesn't have to do with generosity at all. It has to do with, we judge ourselves as the undeserving beggar only when we feel that we have to earn everything. When you ask the universe, hey, I want a Mercedes, but in your mind you're like, if the beggar's undeserving, that means he hasn't earned it. I haven't earned my Mercedes. This is how your subconscious will go. Mm-hmm. So saying, I agree with everything to make me happy except enough money. Okay, so what are you doing? What are you doing when this situation happens to you? When a beggar comes to you in the street, do you judge or no? Do you judge? Does he have to earn the money? Do you just give? Do you have resentment when a beggar approaches you and says, hey man, hey miss, can you spare $5? Is it resentment? Is you just mirroring what's happening in 5D? That's why when I'm asked for something, I have to give it. When I'm asked for advice, yes, I have to give it. See? Honestly, yes, I judge. Exactly. Don't worry, we're all in the same situation. This is why right now I keep the bills in the car. And I think I gave my last 5. Yeah, I did. But I'll show it to you guys next time, whatever. Because I generally break like $40, and I have enough, but that lasts me. Like I said, I'm not in an area where there's a lot of beggars. If I was, I would break it into $1 bills. So if you're asked directly, you have to give, because if you ask the universe for things, otherwise you're saying he has to earn it. So you have to earn whatever you're asking for. The same thing. It's like the image and the reflection. You know, you're the reflection. The image is formed on the other side. And the image of you is that people have to earn what they ask for. That's the image. The reflection is you don't get a lot of money, or you don't get easy money, or you don't get free things because you don't think people should have that. Zach says, is love conditional or unconditional? Love for whom? Love for kids and pets is unconditional. Love for your spouse is conditional. It's not that hard, right? We all know this. Anybody wants to challenge me on this? I'm married. I love my husband. Conditionally. On the condition that he doesn't beat me. On the condition that he doesn't gamble away our money. On the condition that he doesn't become a drunk. I love my husband on certain conditions. Believe me. If he hits me once, I'll stop loving him really fast. Those are minimum conditions. Of course, there's more conditions. Conditions really are hand in hand with self-love and respect, which took me years to learn, says Lisa. Exactly. It's all your boundaries. Of course, you love the other person with conditions, but I don't love my kid with conditions. Knock on wood, if my kid ever hits me, I'll still love her the same. Sandra says, so the answer is to see that everyone, including ourselves, deserve it all, or is deserve a trap of the world? Deserve is the trap of the world. We are taught that, but we see that as adults. We're taught that as kids. You gotta deserve this chocolate if you do your homework or if you eat your soup first. You gotta deserve X and Y. You gotta deserve a paycheck. You gotta go to work. But the thing is, then we see all these people who don't go to work and have money. We see these people who easily aligned, maybe they don't have a lot of money, but things come to them easily. You know, they go out on 2 dates and they find a husband, a good husband. You see a woman who's you consider way less than you. You know, she's heavier than you, she's older than you. Her husband loves her way more, then respects her way more, buys her way more things than your husband. And so, you know, it has nothing to do with deserving. It only has to do with alignment. It only has to do with how that person projects themselves into the world. Sometimes it's unconscious. Just want to see if there's anything else. But this is where we are. And this is a very good observation. When you observe someone, especially at work, they got something they didn't deserve. It's like, that has nothing to do with you. You're asking the universe probably all the time to get things that you don't deserve, you haven't earned. Somebody's, oh yeah, so it's still you. You worked somewhere 25 years, a lady who's been there 3 years got a huge raise. No, don't be upset. Don't be upset. You know, we have a saying in my group of women. We say, if her, then me. If her, then definitely me. Now, it might not come from the same place. It might not come in the same way. But we say this every time we have a success story. We have somebody comment, if her, then me. Somebody gets a new car. Somebody gets a big engagement ring. If her, then me. Definitely. Why not me? Forget about her. Why not me? If it's possible for one, it's possible for me. How do I become aligned with what I want? Do you know what you want? And are you sure that's a match for the matrix of your soul? You know what you want? Are your wants the wants that you see on Instagram? Being a size 4. I don't know what's in fashion right now. Being a trad wife or running your own business, working 2 hours a day, making 500 grand a month. What do you want? Are your wants really your wants? That's the thing. Because you can only have wants that match your soul, in my opinion. That's the only thing that can be sustained. You can get other things, but that's not going to be sustainable. Okay, I want to do a couple of more here. Let's see. I have here, again, these are reflections that are coming from our 60-day challenge. This screen says, I made my dream job list. I still have a few months left until I get my degree, so I'm just refining the list. I'm also reassessing my goals so that nothing is contradictory. I want to have a creative career, but I feel more productive when I have a job. So the thought of not also having a regular job is a bit scary, but my experience with having a job and commuting has been draining. So that's why I'm redoing my dream job list so that I have a job that doesn't take away my energy and instead just keeps me disciplined and gives me a routine. And I'm trying to believe that my next job could do so much better. But now I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure how to know what's right for me and where to put my focus. The key sentence is the last one, right? I'm not sure how to know what's right for me and where to put my focus. So here, what we have is Sometimes the answer for me is in the question. And the answer is we have here an unwinding identity contradiction, okay? One identity is this creative, spacious woman. She wants space and freedom and creative power. But there's another woman in there, right? So it's an identity contradiction. It's not a list contradiction. The identity is of a safe woman that feels comfortable and safe in discipline and routine. And what does the brain look for primarily? It doesn't look to make us, it doesn't look to give us what is creative and what is spacious and what brings joy in our heart, unless that thing is also safe. So if what is safe is something else, it will give you whatever is safe first. Exactly. Brain just wants safety, okay? So this also comes from, this specific contradiction comes from this inverted roles that we have now in the world for a lot of women. A lot of women are big in the masculine, big in their masculine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy, but right now a lot of women are in the masculine because a lot of women have to support themselves 100% on their own while also trying to invoke the feminine energy. So in her case, it's not about choosing a job. It's more like about choosing a state. Like the decision and why it's so difficult to make is the state what is it that you want? The state that you want to be in. Is it more rigorous, more balanced, more 50% masculine, 50 feminine? Or is it more, you'd rather be 80% feminine? You kind of have to know yourself enough to know what would suit you. Now, what would suit you is not necessarily where you're at now. Right now, you could be 90% masculine because you have 3 little kids to raise, you're on your own, you have 2 jobs, etc. But I'm asking here, what is it that you think, and you have to spend time with yourself and do all sorts of work to understand this. What is it that would put you in balance? Where are you? It's like the people, the environment, your daily schedule. All of this has to be seen through the prism of who you are. So for example, for an introverted person working in a high stimulating environment, it's not necessarily something that's a match for them. Or for a person who loves talking to people, loves doing her makeup every day, loves being seen, putting her at a desk in a room with a closed door and having her just produce spreadsheets for 8 hours a day, even if you pay them 150 grand, 200 grand, it will take a toll on who she is. Do you understand? So the state in which you want to be day to day is the most important part of this work. But I think, look, this list you can refine and refine and refine. It's the same as making a list for a man. You guys know I made that list. I got exactly what was on that list. Like I had 11 points, including a type of dog that he had to have. And I got all of them. Okay, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then it still didn't work. Like it was a disaster because I missed one huge element that turns out was hugely important to me. But I didn't know that when I was making the list. So then if you make this list as in the job is the same thing. I earn 200 grand. I, go to the office 3 days a week. All of these things that you have in your role there, you can get that and get in this flow and realize it's not for you because it's not generating the right state for you. And that's okay. And that's when I realized with my list, in my case was a man, I realized I have to approach this completely different from my own state on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to the expectations of what he should be. It's an expectation of what I would get from it on a day-to-day basis, on a day-to-day state. This is a completely switch of the mindset on how the world tells us to think about our desires, about our wants and needs. Very different way of thinking. So let me check if we had anything else. I don't think we had anything else in terms of questions. I did a video on thoughts and emotions because many people have this question about how thoughts and emotions Like how much thought and how much emotion, and obviously a lot of pruning has to go into our thoughts. But once you have your thought pattern right, mental diet right, how much emotion you have to put into it. And I said, you got to think of this as thoughts being the architects of your reality and the emotion being the building material. And I said, the building material, if you're a highly emotional person, you love easily, you're very good with people, you're very kind to animals, or you have a lot of negative emotions too, right? Like if you're a feeling led person, if you're a feeling led person, that means you have a lot of material to create reality. But if you don't have what you want, or you're not at that point where you're happy, fulfilled, satisfied, it's probably because you don't have the architecture for a life that suits you. And I think for me, this is a lot harder to do than to generate emotion. So if you're emotion led, you have to be very careful, because what's happening is probably the chaotic thoughts, the contradictory thoughts are throwing all this building material, which are emotions, all over the place. And you might have little things, little success stories, one thing happening here, sweet surprises, what have you, or even things that don't happen to other people. That's because you have a lot of building material to build them. But you don't know what that building material, what architectural structure it attaches itself to. Because your thoughts, especially if you have a lot of emotions, have to be severely controlled. Otherwise, that emotion can actually ruin your life. And we know this happens with people who are highly emotional. This is why they're building scattered things all over the place. Even when they have the best intention, it usually doesn't work out. Something happens. It's because there's no architecture, which can only be obtained by the thought. And I tell queens all the time, and we're going to work on this on the workbook that I'm going to have available at the end of the month. You need, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I saw this comment. You're saying that highly emotional people have a lot of material, not a lot of material possession, a lot of material to construct reality from. Sorry, was I clear on that? So thoughts are architecture, emotions is the building material. Yes, I'm saying they have a lot of building material, a lot of potential if they manage to construct and architecture the blueprint of their ideal life. That's what I was going to say before. Me and my queens, we do this exercise regularly. 5 pages, one day in the life of the person that has a coherent life with everything you want. So you do your goals. Okay, let's say you want this in your money, this in your life, this in your career, this in this kids, husband, whatever you want. You put it in there and you wake up with that person. Now you're going to write a day in the life of that person. And a lot of people, when they do this exercise, they realize it's very hard to do. But if I asked you to write 5 pages on the day that you had yesterday, you could, right? I woke up in my house, my apartment that I hate. It's too small for me. I don't know if I can make rent this month. This house is too small for us. Then I looked in the mirror and I'm still fat and I still don't like myself. My hair's all falling out. Then I went and I realized I need to do groceries. Damn, there's nothing to eat in this house. I left. I was late. There was traffic. This woman passed by me, a neighbor in her Mercedes. She has everything I want. How come I don't have that? I'm so much better than her. Like you could create from your negative scenarios in your head the complete description of what happened to you yesterday. So what I'm saying, you got to do this exercise for the life that you want to have. For the life that you want to have with all your goals complete. Can you write 5 pages on what happened in that day? And a lot of people realizing this, they have conflicting goals, right? They want a high power career and also three little kids without understanding that. That's hard. That's hard to manage. Let's see what's here. Sorry, the sun is in my eye and I can't see what's going on here. What if you get something completely different than what you wanted to manifest, job or relationship? Well, it just depends. You mean like completely opposite or completely different? Completely different but still satisfactory, or completely opposite as in you got something bad? I find myself talking down to myself often, and I know that's unhealthy. Yeah, Tim, listen. You gotta be very careful about what you say because you're always listening. There's one person in your life who's always listening to everything you say, and that is the person that you are inside, your subconscious, right? Always listening. Listening when you have thoughts. It's just in listening mode. It's just like that's your instructions. Remember, what you say is instructions. Really, if you're to analyze your life and to look at your life, you'd see that a lot of life matches those instructions if we're really honest with ourselves. But I want you to understand all of this can be reversed. Like I used to say, oh, I'm single because I'm intolerant and intolerable. Ha ha ha. So funny. Like I used to repeat this to people, everyone was laughing. Because I like being funny is important to me. But I was creating that exact thing. And I was like, holy shit, no. What do you mean I'm intolerable? Everyone loves me. I'm like wife material. Tell me what I should wear for our date. I'm married, but thank you. But I can tell you what to wear on a date. Wear something that they used to wear back in the day. If you want to stand out from all the other guys, I think you need to do things that men don't do anymore. And it doesn't take a lot. If you have a love interest, send lunch to her office. She's never gotten that before. It's not about the value of the lunch. It's like $25, but it's just a gesture. Is my God. Many times I think, like, if I was in a body of a man, my consciousness, I could have any woman I wanted. Woman I wanted. As long as she was available and I had access to her, any woman I could have. Of course, the irony is if I was my consciousness in a man's body, I would still be attracted to men. So that wouldn't work. What were we talking about? Remember, when you're looking for spiritual knowledge, okay? I feel like I had something else to talk about. Spiritual knowledge has to enhance your clear thinking, not escape it. Like, it has to enhance your clear thinking. Most people go to spirit to escape reality. That's not. We're here to create reality. You can't escape a responsibility to create reality. You probably just can come back and have harder situations to deal with only because you have to. You are obligated to exercise a free will choice. And this free will choice is such a gift that we're given. But it's the free will to constantly select. To constantly select between what we as human defined right and wrong. You have to constantly select. Let's see. What I have here. I always randomly join your live at the perfect time, relevant topic. Well, I told you guys, if you stumble upon this live, there's something in it here that is meant for you. I really believe that. I don't do any marketing of any of my material, and I really think it's for a small group of people that are ready to sort of take this advice, but you have to implement everything I'm saying. Yeah, I could have any woman I want without compromising myself, Tim. Because also in having anyone you want, when you're a strong person, you only want people who are a match for you. Right? So it doesn't have to do with her looks or her, there's people who are not a match for you. Like if you're an intellectual guy, you're not going to be looking for a girl who's clubbing. Depends what you mean by want. If you want her for one night, that's different than want. Like, I mean, like I could have any partner I want. I wouldn't have difficulty finding a partner who's matching me or seducing her and convincing her to be with me. That's what I mean. It's not hard to win a woman's heart, actually. Yeah, Lisa. They don't get this. They don't get this. Like I keep telling them every time men pop up in here, I keep telling them, send lunch to our office. What's the big deal? I keep telling them, open the door, hold the umbrella. Like, why is it hard, guys? Like, why is it hard? Smell good, obviously, as a guy. Smell good. Your hygiene has to be perfect. But that's the case for every human being. Honestly, I can't believe I need to say that. Do you do, sorry, what am I doing here? Do you do Joe Dispenza's meditation? I used to. I went to 2 of his retreats. He's very, very interesting man. And actually the 60-day challenge that we've been doing for the last 2 years, I got this inspiration to do it when I was in a deep meditation at his in-person retreat. It was like really like very, very mystical thing. I've talked about this enough now. I think I don't want to go in that direction again. But it was a presence that as I was there, I had this epiphany that I was living a moment where energy was filling me. And that not everybody has a chance to do this, you know, because the whole retreat cost me, I don't know, like $6,000. And I'm like, it's not for the majority of people, right? It's very restrictive. And I was like, I have to do something online in regards to this. Like, I have to be there for people. And I've shown up for people every single week. And I don't know, my group has achieved incredible success stories. Anyways, that's sort of where we're at, guys. Certain levels in your life are not possible without further developing your inner faculties. Just remember that. If you know you're doing the work and you know you're a great person and you know you're doing things right, understand that in order sometimes to go to the next level, and I think, Lisa, you left a very interesting comment, which I'm going to read again, in regards to my testimony, that all I'm having is these epiphanies. Without developing inner faculties, you cannot go to the next level. Basically, what this means in simple terms is you can only manifest based on the person you are today, right? So if you're a certain kind of person, I think somebody left this testimonial. I was manifesting from where I was, and I was just manifesting more of it. Like, I would manifest more men being interested in me, but they were the same type of men. When I wanted marriage with somebody completely different, but I had to be different first. Do you believe consciousness creates your next life? I don't think you should worry about your next life. I stay away from these topics because people haven't figured out this life yet. When you figure out this life, you can worry about your next life. That's my approach to it. You know, people ask me, how come we don't remember our previous lives? But, you know, there's certain few kids that do, and they could tell you exactly where they lived and some creepy stuff. I think, like, look, most people can't deal with the memories of this life. Imagine you had the memories of 10 past lives, which were worse than this life. I guarantee you. You think it's not safe to be a woman now? You don't know what it was like to be a woman 200 years ago, 500 years ago. Probably didn't die well either. Most people didn't. There's no antibiotics, guys. No medication of any kind. So my baby was a footling breech. Back in the day, they would have just cut me open and pulled her out. I would have been one of those moms that dies in childbirth. My life was terrible. So remembering anything from your past life would be such a curse. Lisa, oh my God, I've been on antibiotics for a month. Yeah. If this was 1759, you remember that life when you had the same disease and no antibiotics? Right? So why you want to remember? Why are you thinking of your next life when you haven't even done well on this one? You satisfied with this one? Then you're like, okay, I've done everything I can achieve in this life. I have to worry now if consciousness creates my next life. Figure this out before you come back in a worse circumstance. I don't know how much of us is recycled and not. That's like a deep conversation that I don't know if that would benefit your life to contemplate. What benefits your life is stop absorbing material that has nothing to do with the growth of your being. Okay? If you want to be in a happy relationship, you're not gonna watch horror dating stories, or you're just gonna work on defining your boundaries. I know it's so much easier to watch a content that kind of agrees with what you've observed so far. You've had 10 bad dates, ghosted, you got cheated on by 2 boyfriends. It's so easy for the ego to crave the content that validates your experience. And that is exactly why you'll never have anything else. Do you understand that? Do you want me to say that again? Your ego wants to watch, wants to go to what is comfortable and it knows, and wants to know other people have had that experience to validate its own existence. What you need is the opposite of that in order to escape the energetic pull of that identity, of being cheated on, of being ghosted, of nothing working out. Think about it. Taha says, I believe everything is illusion, just projection of mind. So they're higher consciousness, higher planes. But it doesn't matter because you have to live the experience today. So even if this is a simulation, I feel pain, I feel love, I feel comfort. It feels different driving a $2,000 car than driving this $80,000 car. It feels different. So projection or not, I want to have a good experience. And the better my life is, the more I can help others. Because if I am stuck working 3 jobs, I don't have time to come here and share an inspiration. That's just one example. I don't have time to help my kid with her homework. I don't have time. So the more time I have and the more comfortable I am and the more I am allowed to be who I am, the more I can serve. So even if everything is an illusion, I'm going to find that out after, Not now I got to exercise my free will choice. That's why I don't like esoteric topics, guys. Amara says you transform my mindset. Thank you so much. That's actually the highest compliment I receive often, but people tell me I think completely differently about my life because of you. And everything changes, the latest marriage story, somebody sent me her wedding photo, and she actually worked with our group for 2 years and then she left. And then I heard from her with this thing and she said, I was single when I started to listen to you and doing the 60-day challenge or whatever I was doing. And now, I can't believe I'm in this relationship and we got married and, I'm sorry I had to take a break because she actually moved countries and what have you. But she goes like, it's all because I changed the way I looked at relationships, the way I looked at men, the way, like all the negative thoughts that I have, I was able to eliminate. And what better compliment is there? That's why when people ask me, can we manifest happiness, peace on earth? Yeah, you can. One person at a time. Starts with you. If you're not in a good place, you're not projecting anything good. So your first priority has to be for you to be in a good place. You can't contribute if you're in a terrible place, depressed, anxious, stressed, fearful, not being able to pay the rent. You don't have anything to contribute. You're just there to take. Okay, at the end of all my lives, I'm live once a week, guys, on Mondays, 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. All my lives are posted on my YouTube channel. They're all educational in case you want to watch them. If you stumble upon this live, there's something in it that's meant for you. I end every live with the tapping and I use one affirmation: I am a winner. It takes about 30 seconds. We do it 3 times, 6 times, 9 times. I count. You can do it with me. If you don't want to do it, I'll see you next Monday. And thank you so much for joining. If you want to stay, one breath in. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.